Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, welcome, my name's Rebecca, I'm a knitter and knitwear designer based in Edinburgh, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. It has been 3 weeks since my last episode, so I have a bumper crop of things to talk about today. I got a test call, I've got 2 finished objects, I've got like 50 swatches. I've done so much swatching recently. And I think some new projects cast on. And all in all, there's a lot happening at the moment. So we are going to try and sit down and concisely and to the point tell you what's going on with my knitting, tell you some interesting things that's going on, and try to wrangle my brain back into functional mode. We will see if we get there. I'm not sure we will. Before I get into everything, the things that I want to make sure I won't forget is Jonathan Days has a new pattern coming out called the Utility Shawl. I believe it comes out next week. But I was a tester for this design. I did not have my sample with me today because I've had to restart over and there's not very much to show. I will get this finished because I really want it for autumn, but frantic is the word I would use to describe myself at the moment. And you'll see, everything else has gone a bit wild recently, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I've not quite got it finished, but I did want to let everyone know that it comes out. And there were some incredibly beautiful versions in the tester pool. So keep an eye out for that. And you can follow Jonathan. I think he'll probably post about it on YouTube, and you can definitely follow him on Instagram if you want more from him. And then there is a new knit along running. Casey of Young Folk Knits is running a mosaic knit along. And I have a discount code available over on her most recent episode. So you can head over there, watch her episode, and I have a discount code for my 3 mosaic patterns. It's quite funny because I don't think of myself as even knowing how to do mosaic knitting, and I have 3 knitting patterns that are mosaic. So mosaic is really just using more than one colour and slipping stitches, and that is all I've ever, that's how I've only ever done it. My older sweater, my Daft Days cardigan, and my Daft Days shawl are all in the discount code, 25% off, which is a pretty chunky discount. And you can get that by going over to Casey's most recent episode. Okay, those are the things I told myself I cannot forget about them, so I need to make sure I mention. Let's get into what I have then. So what am I wearing? I'm wearing one of my finished objects, and I'm also wearing one of my tester call for today. I am wearing the Cara wrap, C-A-R-A, and oh my goodness, this has just been a delight, but a huge challenge to work up. So if you have been watching for a while, you will know this is not the first iteration of this wrap that I have shown. This is the 3rd iteration of the wrap that I've shown. So the very first version I knit with the intention of wearing it to my mum's wedding, or like taking it as an over dress for mum's wedding. And that wedding was in Brisbane in early April. The trip was end of March to April, but the wedding was at the end of the trip. And let's just say it was so hot and sticky in Brisbane that I barely didn't even want to wear the dress I was wearing. Never mind a mohair cardigan. The cardigan did not come with me, but it did spark an idea. And I am a huge fan of wraps. I just think that a wrap is the most, I don't love a whole lot of cleavage out. I'm a relatively, I don't really purposely dress particularly modestly. It's not really something I strive to do, but it is something that my style is I wear quite a lot of midi skirts, I wear generally jeans and t-shirts, and I don't have a whole lot on show up here, but there's something about a wrap that's a little bit sexy and I love it. It's kind of, if you're on TikTok at the moment, it's demure. We're in our demure era. It's demure, but also, it's a little something going on, and I love it. I loved sewing wrap dresses when I did a lot of sewing. And that's not true, I've attempted a wrap cardigan before with limited success. I did once make a wrap. I tried to make a wrap cardigan last year for Christmas, and I actually think the body was fine. I tried to add a ruffle, and that's where everything went badly wrong. And I did once start a test knit back when I was doing test knits of a wrap pattern, but the pattern, it was not a great test, and the pattern had quite a lot of difficulties, and it was 2 strands of mohair double, and by the time I was 2/3 of the way through the pattern, almost the whole thing was rewritten, and I was I'm not doing it. Which is fine. I would allow, if I did that, my test knitters would be perfectly allowed to scrap it as well. So that's fair. I hold my test knitters to the same standard as I was holding myself. So all that to say, I've never finished a wrap cardigan before starting the work on this one. I have, however, knit sewn a lot of wrap dresses, and so I think I spent probably like between 50 and 100 hours fitting wrap dresses. I've sewn so many of them, and so many toiles, the word that we use in sewing to describe like a fake first attempt, that I just know how, like, I know what I want in a wrap. And so I knew what I wanted to make sure it wouldn't gape, I knew where I wanted the wrap to cross, I knew where I wanted the sleeve to fit, and so it's all about translating those sewing things into knitwear. So I made the very first version. It was bottom up, and I usually do bottom up mostly because it's my lazy way of designing when I don't really want to work things out until I get further up. I do also love a bottom up drop shoulder, but that's not my laziness, that's just a design I love. But I do really, yeah, when I don't know what I'm gonna do something, like I'm like, okay, bottom up, I'll cast it on and we'll work out the numbers later. And that is how it went with the wrap cardigan version 1. Honestly, it's not a bad fit, but a couple of things that were problematic. The armhole was too deep, so I was getting these big like folds, like horizontal folds of fabric like this because the armhole was too deep. And then at the back neck, you will see that the back neck of this one is sitting very flat, but the back neck on the other one was gaping out like crazy. And I also used ribbed edging, which once I put some elastic into it, it was completely fine, but it was gaping without the elastic. And obviously, like, I don't want a final pattern to need to sort of rely on something like elastic for it to fit properly. That was version 1. Version 2, I cast on top down, and also I was very pleased with a lot of elements about it, but there were some things I was not so pleased with. The first thing was the rate of increasing. Well, actually, before I washed and blocked it, I thought the rate of increasing was fine. It was an alpaca, and by the time I washed and blocked it, it stretched quite a lot, and so instead of crossing like here, or like, that's probably where it should sit, like here, it was crossing like here. Nothing demure about that, nothing pure sexy, nothing else. It was very, like, it was just not wearable, it was way too low. So I knew I needed to change the rate of increasing. And there's something else about that one. Oh, my method of increasing at the neckline edge was not very neat, and it was making there's an I-cord edging. It was making that curl up a lot, so I knew I had to go back and change my method of increase at the neckline. Then we came to version 3, and let me just say, it's the Goldilocks of my wrap cardigans, and it fits 100% where I want it to. I am absolutely obsessed with it. So it is a drop shoulder, so you'll see the shoulder hits right at that tip of your shoulder bone, which is where a sleeve cap would start in sewing. So again, very much from my sewing days. I still have sewing machines, I just never get them out. So that's where it starts. We have got like a full sleeve cap, we've got a cross, and I'm wearing joggers. So if you can see the flash of them, don't judge me. How's the best way to show this? Let me just stand up. We have a little tie here, and there's also a tie on the inside. I need to tie this inside one tighter because I feel like I've got a camisole underneath, but I feel like it's just peeking out more than I want because I've not quite tied it tight enough. It has I-cord ties at the side. It's got an I-cord tie in the inside, so there's no, you don't have to make a hole or anything. You just pick up at the end and add the I-cord ties. And yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. So I use Majogarn Tynn Pure Gynt. I will say, I probably don't love this next to skin, and I think if it's cold, right now it's quite hot, and I find that as soon as I get warm, if anything's a little bit prickly, it feels much more prickly, and right now it feels a little prickly on the back of my, like where my camisole doesn't sit on the back of my neck. So I think in future, well, I already know my next version is Alpaca. I'm not crazy about the yarn, I don't think. I'm happy with it. I will still wear this a lot, but I think, again, starting over, I probably would use something a bit softer to be right next to skin for myself. But otherwise I love it. I love this red. I just feel like this is going to be like, I feel like with a pair of black jeans in the winter, I've been talking a lot about how my hair and these like true winter colours are like my colour, so I'm trying to lean into that a bit more. But also just like, can you imagine, it's just Christmas. Like imagine Christmas or New Year, like this is almost definitely what I'm wearing on Christmas Day, and I'm so excited about it. So there's something else I was going to say. There are, I feel like I talked a bit more in my last episode about some like choices I'd made in designing things, and I thought it would be interesting to share a couple of those. So across this neckline edge, there are 3 different rates of increasing. So there's no increasing, and then there's 1 rate, 2 rates, 3 rates to make sure that it's hit where I want it to. But the wrap isn't just like this, it's actually like a curve, that edge. so that it gets to the final stitch count we need, but it's still open up here. And I think when you look at it, you wouldn't know it was a curve, but you definitely see that one, which I think is quite interesting. The increases are backwards loop. Okay, I'm back. So I think I was talking about the rate of increasing and how I use different increases. Oh no, I was talking about my backwards loop increases. So my usual make one in this scenario would be to use a make one left or make one right. So like you lift up the bar and you knit through the front of the back. Pretty standard, use it a lot in raglans. However, what was happening is that because of the I-cord, the I-cord was getting way too tight because it was making it pull upwards. So the edge was pulling too far away and it wouldn't lie flat. So I went looking for a new method and I tested the backwards loop and that worked really, really well. So it works pretty similarly to a make one. You make a loop in the same way you would for like a backwards loop cast on, and then you knit it through the back loop when you get to it next time. And it worked really well because I wasn't using any of the yarn. In an I-cord, you're like, or in a make one, you're pulling up the yarn from the one below. And that's what was creating it all too tight, it was too much tension. And instead of like using some of that yarn, I was using a new loop, like a fresh loop that I'd made, and I wasn't getting that problem. So that's my fun. And all this to say, the test call is now live. So there are the test call is in the link down below. It's an 11.5 week test. It'll start on a Monday and end on the Wednesday. So like 11 weeks and 2 days. And there are 10 sizes. There's waist shaping, there is bust shaping, and there are 2 lengths of cardigan. So my length hits right on the waist, and the longer length has like a ribbing section at the bottom. So the ties will all stay at the waist, but you can make it like a fuller length by working the ribbing. The waist shaping, so mine has absolutely 0 shaping in it, mostly because I really want to focus on getting that neckline right this time. But if you have, so bust shaping, bust shaping explained quite clearly in the test form and in the pattern. But bust shaping is if your high bust and your full bust have quite a big difference between them. And at that point you can opt to put in bust shaping. And in this one there are bust darts. And that means that there's more fabric for like a breast to sit into in the bust shaping, and that's what that does. So it creates more fabric and then decreases them out again. Waist shaping is done along the underarm, and this is very simple. You're just working decreases along like almost where the center, there's no center seam. There's no seam, but if there was a seam, like on a t-shirt or whatever, it would be down there, and it's gonna pull the waist in from the bust. And this is if there's quite a dramatic difference between your bust size and your waist size. So I don't have a massive difference in the two. I have like 8, not even that, like 6-7 centimeters depending on how much I've eaten that day. So I'm absolutely fine without it. However, I think I will do it on the next one. The pattern is written for 10 centimeters of a difference, but it's working decreases. So I think I will do my second sample and I will do half of, so every time it tells me to do a decrease, I will just do one every second time. So I end up with a 5 centimeter difference from the bust to the waist. And that's just gonna make it a little bit more slimline and like a little bit more fitted to my waist, because right now what it means is I have more positive ease around my waist than I do around my bust. And for the fit, it's quite a classic fitted garment, this one. It's recommended 0 to 5 centimeters or 0 to 2 inches of ease, so a bit more fitted, and so you might want those looks. There are also 2 sleeve options, a long sleeve and a short sleeve. My very first sample was short sleeves and I still love how it fits, so I have offered a short sleeve version as well. So there's, you know, just the way I like it. You've got 2 sleeves, 2 lengths, bust shaping, waist shaping. Take your pick. Fingering in mohair or a DK weight yarn, it is a 20 stitch and 28 row gauge, so that means a real classic DK. And yeah, it's all in the forum. I will be selecting testers and letting everyone know on Monday. I'm super excited to get this one started, and I'm very excited to cast on my second one. I do, in fact, I kept trying to cast it on this morning, but then the puppy kid, like, he was quite chill and he was just relaxing, so I was like, I'm just gonna cast this on, and then he'd be like, oh, what's going on there, I want to get involved. So this is how much of my second version I have cast on. But I will be using the yarn that I made my second sample that has not worked out of, and I'm hoping I'll have enough yarn, and if not, I'll start unraveling that other sample. So it is drops, alpaca and filcolatilia, but what I know now is that the post blocking gauge from my second sample is the same as this gauge, so it's the 26 and 28 rows. This will be your gauge this time. Yeah, so Cara wrap, test call is live. The pattern will come out in the first week of November. I was on the fence for a while about which pattern I would be releasing in November and which I'd be releasing in January. December is an accessory month because people are maybe knitting for gifts and things. So I have 2 sweaters and I was on the fence about which one to release when, but the overwhelming response was that people like to knit things to wear to like New Year and Christmas, and so this way it is out in time for that if you so choose. So yeah, it will be out on the 7th, I think. I just checked for the test form. So like whatever the week is that starts with the 4th of November, that is the week. It will come out on the Friday of that week. It's called Cara. Cara is another island in Scotland and also quite a popular girl's name, woman's name I guess. And I just liked, I felt like it's probably one of my more feminine designs. I design a lot of very gender neutral, quite boxy designs, and I thought I'm leaning a bit more into the femininity of this one, and it's got all the shaping. Let's pick a girl's name. And it's kind of unfortunate because I have a lot of cousins that are named after islands, so I also wanted to pick one of the island girls' names I don't already have a cousin named after. I do have an aunt named Cara, but I think it's fine. Okay, it is warm and I'm too hot, so I'm going to take this off, but I'm going to show you my next finished object. So here we go. This is my 6 season jacket. So I think I was also working on this last time and I finished it just earlier this week, and I am completely obsessed with it, and I'm a little bit devastated that it's not colder weather because I want to be wearing this right now. So this is a heavier weight version of my 6 season sweater. My 6 season is a DK and this is an Aran. It's a 16 stitch gauge and it is a jacket. So I mean it's a cardigan, but it's a heavier weight cardigan, so I'm calling it a jacket. But it's ultimately like a cardigan slash jacket vibe. You'll be not surprised to hear there are many options, but before I get into the options, let me tell you about this one. I have used Studio Donegal soft tweed, and I was on the fence about this yarn, and I am actually really pleased with this yarn, and I almost considered buying some more, and then I told myself that this one is in stash for almost 2 full years, and so I could not justify buying more right now. But I really liked it. It is a trust the process yarn. It's a little bit bumpy, it's a little bit funky, it doesn't end up, it's not the nicest, I didn't dislike knitting it, but I was like, it feels a bit weird, and you kind of knit it up and it looks a bit holy and a bit uneven, and then you block it and it's just so soft and stunning and lovely, really, really lovely. I am not sure what colour mine is, but it's like the beige with like yellow and blue flecks in it. The iconic, it's not iconic, I'm calling it that, but it has the 6 season shaping in it, like in the 6 season sweater, and it has got the 2x2 ribbing. And for this version I have done double folded cuffs, which I've never done before, and I blocked the whole thing and then I changed my mind and decided to add the double block cuffs. So the cuffs are probably a little bit tighter than they need to be. They'll probably stretch out a little bit with time, just because I've not blocked them. I just love it. This just makes you think of like a walk in the forest or like very, very cozy vibes, I feel. And I feel it's gonna get so much wear. I think I'm gonna wear this a lot at home as like a work from home sweater, because it feels still like I've put some thought into what I'm wearing, but also just like the sleeves and the yarn's really soft and I'm just feeling like, oh, I want to get all cozy. So this is the January pattern. So if you want to know how organised I am right now, I have patterns all the way ready till January. I do need to knit more than one of the sample before it goes into testing, and I'll knit a 3rd and final sample during the test knit, hence why I started so early on this one. But I'm really glad that I have, because I just adore this. I think it's so warm and so delightful. Sorry, my brain just went into function there, and I'm thinking maybe I should just pull this forward and release it in December, but then I'm thinking I have to be really organised to get my timelines right for that. Okay, this is my brain at the moment. I'll talk at the end about how much is going on right now, but we are just so busy at the moment. And there's something about the chaotic, and I'm quite anxious. There's quite a lot going on, it's quite stressful, it's quite anxious, and there's something about, it feels like it's turned my brain up to 100. I feel very caffeinated all the time right now, even though I am not caffeinated. And it is the one of the few benefits, probably the only benefit I can think of is that the number of ideas popping into my brain is off the charts. I cannot keep up with my brain at the moment. I keep having to stop and write things down because I'm worried I'm going to forget them. Because there are so many ideas. And that's just like, oh, I could just do this in December. That's not a very exciting idea. That's just pull a pattern a month forward. But generally, that is where my brain is at. So, let me run you through the options this pattern is going to have. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I can't stop. I really think that there's a lot of value add in adding options for patterns. I think it makes the pattern more valuable. I think I've built up a good amount of like goodwill with customers because they know that I'm trying to get them as much value from their pattern as possible. And especially with this one, where I've already released a sweater of this, you could very easily modify that sweater to become a cardigan at the gauge it's at. So I wanted to make sure that if I'm adding another view of the same cardigan or the same pattern, like sorry, a take on the same pattern, I want to make sure it's a value add and it's not just, well, I could have done that if I just knit the front parts flat instead of the round, you know what I mean? So the gauge is obviously the big difference, which means a whole new set of numbers, but the options are the other. So if the 6 season sweater I'll put a picture of up here, it is a very traditional Gansey style sweater. So it has a a textured yoke, and then it's got this faux seaming that goes down the underarm down here. And those are two, that and sort of the deep collar were two things that I took from like very traditional Gansey style. The cardigan, and then what I did is after the fact I made a second 6 season, which is the one I wear by far the most, which is my version with no texture whatsoever. So this is like the bare bones version. It's got none of that texture. So I've kept this detail, I've kept the 2x2 ribbing, but the texture is gone. Oh, my card needs changed. Okay, my card did not need change. I just had to delete a few of the last 15 episodes that are apparently still on this memory card. Sorry, it's a very chopped up stop-start episode. So this version is the plain one. It has no texture at all. It is just stockinette with a detail. And one of the details, which is the folded cuff. The second version I'm knitting is going to be for my mum. And it is in a bag, which is actually a new bag to me. So I got 2 new bags yesterday. This is from Willow Bay Bags. They are on eBay, and this is my little quilt bag. It's a big bag. It looks reasonable size, I think, on camera. I picked this one for this because this is going to be a big project, and it's going to need a big bag. So it is pretty huge. And she started doing quilt bags, and she used to do some corduroy bags, and I got 2 of those, and then I saw this one and I decided I'd have it. I am in a bit of a spendy mood at the minute. I bought a lot of yarn recently. I bought a lot of like individual skeins of yarn for swatching, like a lot. Probably 12 skeins of yarn in the past 2 weeks. Maybe more than that. But these bags were more of like a fun purchase. So this one is in Studio Donegal, Soft Donegal. Then I was looking for a yarn to the second sample in, and I found a new yarn that I am in love with, and it is Vams by Rauma. And I don't know why I'm so surprised by this. I've never knit with Rauma before, and it wasn't very widely stocked in the UK for a while. There are now, that I know of, 2 stockists. There are probably more. My Ivory Room and knit.co.uk, I will say knit is quite dramatically cheaper, almost half the price. Neither of them stocks the full colour range. I think Vams comes in like 50 colours, but they do have quite a good colour range. And I ordered some and did a little swatch, and I just could not wrap my head around how beautiful the swatch came out. I think I have the swatch. I do. Here's the swatch. And it's so light and soft, but like you can just tell it's gonna trap warmth. And look at that texture. The texture really just pops off of the swatch. I was absolutely delighted. I love when this happens, when you find a yarn that is so perfect for a pattern. And so I'm working on it. So I have finished the back panel, which was like my goal for this week, was I told myself I'd finish the back panel, and I have done the back panel. This version is going to be all over texture. So this has no texture, this is all over texture, and then version 3 will be half and half. And oh, I'm so excited. So the pattern will come with the instructions written for the texture, And what I'm hoping, I've already got a note for the testers, is that it's quite easy just to ignore the instructions for texture and just to knit it without texture for this version. I just don't want to have to make like 16 documents. I think it gets confusing that way. So the pattern will have texture, no texture, half texture. 2 lengths, so this is a crop length, and then there will be like a long length, like almost a tunic length one, because this one's gonna have a shawl collar. So there will be a round neck, there will be a V version with a shawl collar, and there's possibly also still going to be a folded collar version, like a polo collar. TBD on that one, to be honest. I need to test it and see if it works. And then there's folded cuffs, and I think that's everything. I was going to add pockets, but I didn't love the pockets. I started doing them and I was like, I'm not a fan of this, and I figured there's already going to be 2 neckline options, 3 collar, 2 length, 2 texture. I think I'm okay not adding pockets. If someone wants to add pockets, they can go off and look up how to add pockets themselves, and it's honestly very, very easy. So yeah, I've done the back panel of this one, and it was just a delight. I think this knit up in like an evening, and it's not particularly labour intensive, but it is 1x1 rib, like offset 1x1 rib with a knit row in between, and you'd think that felt quite laborious. And part of me was dreading, part of me was kind of like, oh, I want to do this for a whole sweater. It feels great, honestly, it's really, really nice to do. So yeah, that is this one. I have, currently, because I've got so much going on in my brain, I'm trying to make myself like some lists and some notes. And so on my list for this one, I have that I'm not going to start this one until, I'll do the fronts this week coming. So my only goal this week was to do the back, and that is done. And yeah, I'm just loving it. I really, really like it. I'm a really big fan of this yarn. I've ordered more of this yarn. I'll be making my 3rd sample in this too, because it's really great. It's a super affordable price point. I will say Knit had a sale on this week on Rauma. That is now ended, but they do have a sale now on Majogarn and Filcolana. I'm almost definitely going to order more. But they had it on last week, and I think it ended up being like £3.60 a ball. And I think for this longer line one, I'm going to need 10 to 12 balls maybe. Probably more than that. Anyway, it's going to be a wool full length cardigan for like less than £50, I think, which is quite an amazing thing. So budget friendly, not dirt cheap, it's still like 80 meters per 50 gram ball, and 50 grams is £4. So it's, you know, you'll get a whole lot of yardage for that, but I do think it's a lovely, lovely yarn if you're looking for something new to try. I'm not sponsored by them, I just buy a lot of their yarn. And you will see I was influenced enough that I went and bought some more Rauma to try, which I'll show you at the end. Okay. Oh, so that's a finished object. The test haul will be coming for a while, and to finish this sample, I've never done a shawl collar before, so I want to make sure that that's been tech edited properly and had a look at before I put it into testing. But that will be, yeah, in my head I was thinking that was going to be my January pattern, but now I'm thinking it's like my December pattern, and maybe I've got something else for January. And maybe 2 patterns are coming January. I'm planning to make a kip shawl. Let's talk about the kip. I was planning to do a kip shawl in December, but maybe I just do 2 patterns in December. So the kip is so I have no patterns coming out in August. My next pattern will come out in September, and that will be the kip shawl and the kip sweater. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I knew this would happen, and my brain would just start going too fast for the rest of me to keep up. Kip is a drop shoulder, all over textured sweater, knit up in Rerum Natura yarn, and the test is underway. I think the very first finished kip came out this week. I think someone's first official one is finished, and I'm plugging away on my sample. I need to plug away a little bit faster though, just because there's a lot to get done on this one, and it is a lot of slip stitching, which just means the rows take a little bit longer to knit than like plain stock knit. So here's what we have. I did the collar this week, and I got my fronts done and joined the collar this week. So now everything else is just a whole lot of knitting in the round for the body, a little bit of sleeve shaping, and then a whole lot more knitting in the round. So this is it. Sorry, I have the windows open because it's quite sunny and hot, and I want some fresh air whilst I'm wearing knitwear. But it does mean my blind is rattling in the background, so apologies if that's annoying anyone. It has this insane texture. So this is a herringbone slip stitch. It's very simple. You're slipping stitches one way and then you're slipping stitches the other way, and that is it. But by stacking them like this, you get this really interesting texture. And it's got some really lovely detailing, if I say so myself. There's like this individual line at the back shoulders, and that runs into this really fun collar detail. So there we go. I think this is going to be glorious to wear. I need to get a move on with it. This is my yarn. I'm using the Natura. I use the same yarn for both my samples, which is not something I do very often. But I just love this yarn so much. They had so many good colours still, and it's a pretty good price, so I thought let's just stick with it. The Rerum Natura Ulysse, I've mentioned this before, it's a funky yarn. It is 185 meters per 50 grams, so it's technically sport weight, but that's like a very light sport weight, in my opinion. I think of anything between like 300 and 400 meters as sport weight, so that's definitely on the lighter end. And it knits up to a DK. I just don't really understand how it works. It's also, you get used to it, but it's quite elastic for yarn because of the way it's spun. The first time I used that, I found it so weird. But yeah, so this is the colour. I think this colour is called Potimarron. I think it means pumpkin. Could be lying about that. And my first one is in the colour White Pepper. And I'm just having a great time, but I need to keep going with this one. You will see I've been very distracted knitting swatches. So many swatches. So I've not had as much time to put onto this as possible, but we've got people staying this weekend, and I'm hoping I can just plug away on this in the background. And now it's at the point where it's just in the round. I'm hoping that means I can just keep knitting on it. We're going to some Finn shows this weekend, and my plan was to cast on my second Cara wrap because it's stockinette, plain stockinette, but I'm thinking what I really need to make progress on this one, and it's just knit 2 slip 2. Surely I can take that to a show, and we'll see. We'll see. Okay, I think that's everything for my whips, apart from my rogue whip, which I think maybe I shared last. Oh, I shared some progress last time, but it's taken shape since then a bit better. So for this one, I have both a box and a bag, and I think I have a bag. Oh no, do I have a bag inside the bag? No, not right now. This is in my Feber. Oh, I should have said this is the other bag that I got from Willow Bay. It's really cute. It's in this lovely like Dutch houses fabric. I mean, yeah, they're definitely meant to be Dutch houses. This one particularly looks very Dutch to me. Made lots of house shape. And there's obviously like a canal, which kind of screams the Netherlands, but yeah, I just thought it was really cute, and I like the colours that they were cut autumnal. And I was already ordering that one, so I ordered this one too. This bag is in my Strikkefeber bag, which are made from old saris, and I just love this bag. But it's quite big. I've got another one from the... I have another one. Sorry, I'm definitely talking too quickly this week. It's the stress. But yeah, this bag is like just on the cusp of being quite a big bag. I think though, this project might migrate into the giant bag because it is going to end up being quite big. So it has sweat. I had blanket fever. I was going to make some baby knits, and I was like, I'll knit baby blanket. But of course I could just find a pattern and follow a pattern. I was like, I'm going to design a baby blanket. And then the yarn I used for the baby blanket didn't work, so I was looking for a new yarn, and then I came across a blanket. So it is now most definitely not a baby blanket anymore, it's now just a blanket. But that is the thought process behind all of it. So here's what we currently have for my current on my needles. But I have a couple already. So the blanket is, I just drop. Oh, crochet hook. The blanket is worked in stripes, but the stripes have these fun increases and decreases, so that each stripe is a little wiggly boy. Like sort of like diagonal wiggly thing. You see that? So the pattern will include a couple of options. There will be a join as you go method. I tested it on my swatches and it works. I don't want to join as I go. I don't want to have to deal with how much fabric there's going to be, and I quite like how simple it is just to blah blah blah. And also I want to decide on my colours at the end, like the order of my colours. So there will be 2 joining methods, there'll be a crochet method and there will be a seaming method, and I think I'm going to do the crochet one because I've tested it and it is, because of my yarn choices, the crochet method is invisible. Well, it's not invisible, but you can't really see it unless you're looking. The seaming method is actually truly invisible, but it's going to take way longer, so I think I'll be doing the crochet method. So here are my swiggly snakes so far. I've got 4 swiggly snakes. Look how fun they are. So I'm pretty much trying to keep up with doing one of these a week. So my recently finished one is the orange. So what I'm currently doing is I'm holding a single strand of Lima from Drops, which is 100% alpaca, with a variety of colours of mohair. And this is my mohair box. And it's so much fun! I have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6... I have 10 colours of mohair. I don't think I'm going to use all 10. One of them is also an off-white, which was kind of a backup in case I felt like I needed more colours. I don't think I'm going to use all 10 colours, mostly because then it's going to be like, I want it to be kind of balanced. I don't want it to be way longer than it is wide. You know, I want it to be like proportionate. And I think if I use all 19, it would end up too deep. I think I'm going to use maybe 8 colours. So 2 of these will get the cut. But I can decide later which 2 they're going to be. Oh, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually have 11 colours of mohair. Because I got this one too, which wasn't in the box. It's in my project bag. So, I don't know which order I did them in. I think I did the orange first. So the way it will work, it's going to be hard to show this, but let me see if I can do it. Is they'll end up getting seamed together, like there. So you'll end up with these like wiggly stripes. They're pulling out a little bit, but yeah, you end up with these like wiggly stripes and they'll all be attached all the way down. And you could do thicker stripes, so that like it's more like bigger chunks, or you could do thinner stripes. And my plan is to do quite a lot of gauge maths, so that I can give you a couple of gauges, and then you can either put in your yarn amount. You'll need to know your yarn amount and your cast on number of stitches, and it'll tell you how long a strip's going to be. So say you have 100 grams of yarn and you want to cast on 14 stitches. It will say if you have 100 grams of yarn and you cast on 14 stitches, every stripe will end up being 180 centimetres. And then you like fiddle with the numbers. So you're like, oh, actually I want it to be a bit longer. What if I cast on 12 stitches? And it'll be like, oh, that'll be 210 centimetres. So you'll be able to like plan it out a little bit in advance, which I think is quite cool. I say that, I have not done a single part of that maths yet, but I spoke to my partner who's a developer and he said he can build something. So that is the plan. There we go. If I hold it up maybe sideways, you can see a little bit better what it will look like. You see that? So they'll join along those seams. It's got those little I-cord edges so that they're really easy to join. And yeah, so far I've done orange, I've done this like teal blue, I've done this purple, and I've done this pink. And I'm kind of loving that it's a rainbow, but I'm also loving that it's all mohair. And it's going to be really fun. So these are just, yeah, and look at this, how fun is just having this like, it's like a bouquet, or it's like a jellyfish. It's super, super easy. Once you get going, I'm just using markers. I put them all on the bottom of this stripe because I've not done enough of them yet. But I count my rows and I put a marker every 20 rows. And then I know when to change direction. And I'm doing increases and decreasing every couple of rows, and I put a marker when I last did decreases. And it's super, super mindless. And that's what I'm doing so far. And it's on 4.5s. Yeah, so it's pretty chunky needle. So it's going pretty quickly and it's just really fun. I'm putting absolutely no time pressure on myself to finish this. I've got other things that need time pressure, so what I'm trying to do is just finish a stripe a week. I think there are 18 stripes, that'd be 9 colours. That may make sense. Let's see, I think it is 18, I think they're 8 centimetres across. So that'd be 144 centimetres. I think I want it to be 150 centimetres. Should be 19 stripes, but I don't want a single colour. Oh, so what I've also worked out is every single stripe is 1 ball of Drops Alpaca, Drops Lima, which is bang on 50% of a yarn of a ball of mohair. So my goal is that I will get 2 stripes out of every ball of mohair. And every stripe will be 1 ball of alpaca. So yeah, this has just been a little bit joyful, and it's really fun to finish a stripe and to add the stripe to the bag, and then it's also really fun to go and open my magical little box of mohair and be like, which colour do I want out of the box? And I just really been enjoying it. It's really no pressure, it's really fun, and yeah, it's really nice. And I get to like reorganise. I used to collect paint chips as a child, which I think is a bit strange, but I did it. And this kind of feels a bit like that. It's tickling the same part of my brain. I used to love going to B&Q, which is like a hardware shop here in the UK. I would go and I'd go straight to the paint chips and I'd be like, which ones do I not have? And every time I'd leave with like 4 more. And I kept them in these like long plastic boxes. I used to play with them like I play with dolls. This is weird. I don't know how to tell you this, but I used to they were personalities. They were like, that's what they were. They were like dolls. I used to categorize them. I used to love categorizing them. All that to say, I'm enjoying this. Of the Mohair, they are all Majogarn, who just have some really nice colours, and I was really impressed with some of their colours, and I thought let's try them all out. With the exception of my royal blue, which is Westwool. Stephen West's shop is, well, Stephen and Penelope is a yarn shop in Amsterdam, and I will be the designer of the month for December. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that yet. No one told me I'm not allowed to say that, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that yet. They have a designer of the month each month, so I get to pick out some kits in their yarn, and I think they're just including the website, and I think there's not much else to it, but it's a nice bit of promotion for me, which is nice. And Stephen West is pretty cool, big designer, and I like, you know, my name, my pattern, my business name is a Dutch name, Dutch word, so it does feel like staying close to my Dutch roots, even though Stephen West is not Dutch, he does live in Amsterdam. All that to say, they've launched 2 new ranges. They have a new, I can't remember what it's called, I want to call it bicycle, but I could be talking nonsense. They have a new fingering weight 4-ply base and a new Mohair base. I think they've redone their Mohair base because they used to have this, but I've got a skein of the old one and it's like a long thin skein, so they've redone it. It is a super vibrant blue, which I really like. It's very saturated. I've not knit with it yet at all, but they sent me 2 of the fingering and 2 of the Mohair. And I thought I would borrow one of them for this, although now I'm realising that, no, because I think the Mohair is 50 grams. Yeah, so now I'm realising, I thought that I had twice as much Mohair as I have fingering, but that is not the case. So I've got it in this box to be used with this, but it just goes so well with my box, I want to keep it. They sent me that yarn, so that one was gifted. They just sent me to try. I've not tried any of it yet, so I can't say anything about it other than they sent it to me. And they also sent me a cool knitter sticker. I'm saying this out loud, I have got no idea what that is. And they have this cool thing. It's like a little bit of, it's just a little bit of wood, but you wrap yarn around it, and then it's like called like an easy swatch or something. So you wrap the yarn around it to see if the colours go well together, because obviously Stephen West does a lot of like colour work, not just like colour work like stranded, but a lot of like slip stitches and colour work. And there's a lot of designs with multiple colours in it. And so you can use that to work out if colours will go together. And they sent one of those too, so that was cool. So yeah, I have the designer of the month, which is fun. So I have a pattern, my colour work pattern is coming out in October, my NYX, which I don't have to show today. I will have it next time because I will have finished the second sleeve. But anyway, I think I'm going to do that for the kit because they have a really nice DK base with like 50 plus colours, and their base comes in 50 gram balls, which is quite handy for colour work because then you don't need to buy a whole ball. You can just buy the 50 grams you need. Or like if you need 150 grams, you buy 3, you have to buy that extra 50 grams. Cool. Okay, shall we move on to Swatchgate? I realise I don't have some swatches, so let me go grab the rest of my swatches and hopefully not wake up the dog while I do it. I ordered myself a sandwich for lunch from a place in Edinburgh called Albi's, whose tagline is big hot sandwiches. And we don't order from them very often. I've only ordered once or twice before, but I got their jalapeno popper sandwich and it is insane. It was huge. So I only had half of it before filming. I had the other half when I finished filming, but I just swiped a bite of it as I went past. It's so good. So, sorry, some of my swatches are still pinned to the board, so I should unpin them. Whilst I'm doing that, you could take a guess at how many swatches you think I've knit in the past 7 days. Take a guess. We will count them in a moment. Okay, it's this many. And this many is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 swatches in, that's like 2 swatches a day for the last every day for the last 2 weeks. No, every day for the last week, sorry. So they loosely fall into 3 categories. I think I mentioned this, I'm just ideas central at the moment. Too many ideas, too little time. And also, like, full pressure. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm very aware that I do not have to worry about putting anything into test knitting anytime soon. I have patterns theoretically up to January, maybe up to December if I move this one up. But even then, right now, I don't have to put anything. My next knit doesn't need to go into test knitting until October, and that is if I move this pattern up. So I've got loads of time, but for some reason I'm feeling stressed about it. Not about this. I'm feeling stressed about life, and this is the way it's coming out. And I will say I'm having a good time with it. Like, it's stressful, but I'm enjoying myself. I'm actually missing a swatch because I definitely swatched in another colour and it's not here, so I don't know where I put that one. So if you said a number 1 more than what I said, if you said 15, you were correct. Okay, so these are all for one design. You can tell I'm having a bit of an autumnal mode, and it is for a cable design. So I started with this one, and this is in Mohair and fingering, and honestly I love it, but it's not quite given the definition that I want it to, and it's a very slimy green. So I moved on from that one, but I did think that I think there will be a version in a Mohair and fingering because I love how it feels. Then I ordered some Harvest Hues from John Arbin, which I've never tried before. And so I think I ordered 5 colours and I swatched with 2 of them, which was this very lovely, the lighting is really good, it's catching the colours really well today. And then this one, which I think is my running favourite, another beautiful green. And then I tried some Isire Jensen, one with Jensen and Mohair, which I think you're just losing all the definition there. And then one with Jensen and Alpaca 1, which is better. I love the colour of this, but again, not the definition I'm looking for. Then I had some Fibre Company Lower mini balls left over from my roux, so I tried with that one, and I just don't love it. I'm just not a fan. Yeah, texture's lost a little bit. Colour is interesting, but not enough. And then I thought I'll go back to Old Faithful and try Cascade 220. So I did it in this colour, which I love the idea of, but I know will make me look horrendous. This is Vinci, I think it's, oh no, maybe Iridescence or Vinci, I'm not sure. And it's a very interesting variegated yarn. It's got these stunning pastel, I don't know if you can get it, like these pastel colours in it. I will wear this, I will look ill. It'll look like skin condition, I know already. And then with this amazing yellow. And also with one more yellow. And you know what? I'm not happy with a single one of them. I have another yarn on order. I'm going to try another yarn. It's a yarn I've used for cables before. I saw someone knitting it on Instagram and knitting cables, and I thought that is exactly what I'm looking for. So I thought that might have arrived when the door went, but it did not. So maybe tomorrow. But I'm in no rush. So that is swatch 1. Swatch 2 then is a lot of broken rib. I have a very clear understanding of what this pattern is going to become, but I'm still pondering over the details of it. So what did I try? I tried Kent DK from Bare Naked Wool. I like it, but I'm not crazy about it. It's okay. It's not giving me like the plumpness that I wanted, but it's giving texture. Then I tried Salt Kill DK, which I got at Rhinebeck last year, which I really like the idea of using, but again, it's not really giving what I want texture-wise. And then these are my favourites for sure. So these are both Jensen from Isire, and this is holding a strand of Highland, which is a wool, and this is holding a strand of Alpaca, well, Alpaca 1, and I prefer this one. I really like this one. I think it looks really good. This one's a bit more vibrant, but I do prefer this one. And then because right now I just love all things Rauma, I also tried with their Fivel? I'm saying Fivel, is it Fivel? Fivel? They're Norwegian, aren't they? Yeah. Fivel? And that one looks really good. The only challenge I have with this one is that there aren't as many colours readily available in this one. And it is, yeah, I don't know. This one I think is better. So I'm torn between these two right now. Annoyingly, they're not the same. They were knit on the same needle size. That's also quite interesting. They were knit on the same needle size. So interestingly that this one is so much bigger. Like obviously they're the same cast on stitches as well. So this one is very evidently a much bigger gauge, but it's so light, this yarn. So yeah, I need to do some decision making. If you have opinions, please tell me, because I can't make up my mind. To be like, this is like, you know, when you go to the opticians and they're like one or two, red or green, dots or circles, triangles, you know, those, and you can tell that I'm not very good at doing those tests because I wear glasses. I clearly fail those tests a lot. And they put something over your eye and they're like, so here we go. What do you see? Which one do you see more clearly? That's what they ask, right? Which one's fuzzy? Which one has better texture? This is Rauma and this is Ulysse. Give me your opinions. I think it's going to be this one. I don't know. And this is the thing, I keep swatching, thinking swatching will solve the problem and I'll know the answer. And then I swatch and I just can't decide anyway. Yeah. And then there's one more swatch, which is currently on my blocking mats, which I think I'm in love with. I am in love with this fabric for sure. Sandysgarn. No, yeah, pure Gynt and Mohair. Weirdly, I don't love it in my wrap. I mean, that's Tynn pure Gynt. That feels much rougher. This is Tynn silk Mohair and pure Gynt. They're definitely different colours. This is powder and this is beige. I wanted marzipan for both, but they didn't have marzipan, so I went for my next best option, and honestly, it's fine. Oh, this fabric is so, it's got such a nice weight to it. It's just like, oh, like you just know it's gonna be so cozy and warm. My swatch is still wet. I only blocked it this morning, I only finished it this morning with my morning coffee. We've got some stuff going on. So we have some pearl diamonds, some pearl bump diamonds, some pearl bumps in between. We need to work out what this is, where this is going, what's gonna happen. I think I prefer the double. Isn't it, this is gonna sound funny. This is one repeat and this is two repeats. They are the exact same size of diamond, but this to me looks like they're much smaller diamonds. But it's just your eyes, my eyes. So we'll let this fully dry because I can't make a decision about this one either. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise! I did not sing on these podcasts because I cannot sing and this is not, yeah. So, if you've got any opinions, feel free to tell me. I think I'm enjoying these swatches more than I expected I would, so I think that this thing is going to be, but then see, I know what my spring, I usually have one spring project. Last year it was Corn, this year it was Sana. It's another cardigan. It's from the archives. And I've got hair in my mouth. It's not even my hair. I mean, maybe it is my hair. It's a grey blonde hair. I mean, I have grey hairs, but anyway. It's from the archive. If you've been watching from the very, very beginning, I had a design that didn't go anywhere. And I think I'm gonna, I was sitting in bed and then I was just like, that, I need to knit that. And yeah, it's coming back. I'm excited. But that's gonna be like my April, May. So I really have February, March. So this is the thing, I'm sitting here, pattern's up to January, 3 different swatches in front of me. My spring pattern already ready, and there's no way I'm getting through this whole winter without having 16,000 more design ideas. So I'm just trying to make myself stop and breathe and remind myself I have to make no decisions right now. I still have lots of things that need cast on, lots of things to knit. No pressure. No pressure, she says. No, there really is no pressure. I still love this. This is the thing. Like, I kind of like the frantic energy. It's probably not good for me, but it does a nice thing to have happen. And I remember when I was much younger, like a child, like a proper kid, and we talked about things at school, I remember thinking, I don't want to do something creative because I'll just wake up one day and never have any ideas again. And like, I can't write, well, I don't want to be a writer because like, what if I never get an idea for a good book? Or what if I never, I could be an artist, because what if I can't decide what to draw that day? Little did I know, my problem would be the opposite, that my brain is, floodgates are open, And I find this also happens, sorry, I'm getting really, really rambly now, but I'm just gonna keep going with it because why not? When I think I have to open my brain up to ideas, and then I sort of batten down the hatches again, and I'm kind of a bit like, okay, they're all fixed, don't have any more ideas for a while, and like sometimes they still sneak through. But right now I'm in like the doors are wide open. Like I've just gone in and I've been like, and they're these big massive wooden doors and they're wide open and all the storms blowing in. The storm is the ideas. I'm there trying to get them all, trying to catch the good ones. What I will do is I'll eventually like lock the door, no more can come in, so that I can actually function again. But right now we're just riding the wave of all the ideas and we're gonna see what happens with them. Okay, acquisitions, yeah, lots of individual bits of yarn, but I think I've talked about my new bags and my yarn that I acquired to swatch with this week. So I think that is most of my exciting stuff to talk about. Oh, there's 2 more swatches to put in. Then life, as you can tell, life is a little bit chaotic at the moment. The very good news, the exciting news, is that we bought a house. And we were not planning to buy a house right now. We were planning to like, let's wait 6 months and we'll start looking in the new year. And then you say you're going to start looking then, so you just have like a little look online and you're like, oh, let's have a look and see what's out there. And then you just see a place that you think, wow, that's impressively within our budget and in a place of town that we want to live in, and it's for sale right now. Like, we will just go view and we'll just have a look at it and we'll just see, you know, is this the sort of thing we'd want? And then you go and you fall in love with the house and you put an offer, the offer gets accepted, and now you're moving house in 3 weeks. With a puppy and a partner changing jobs and a boat and a business and a full-time job. So all of our own making and all lovely, lovely things. Like I love our puppy with my whole heart, and I'm very excited to be in our new house together. And I'm so glad that we have a boat to go on our adventures with. And I'm very, very grateful that I run a business that I love so much and it takes so much of my brain because I just want to spend all my time on it. They're all amazing things, but right now we're just suffering a little bit that there's a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it. And I think both my partner and I are just feeling a little bit stressed by all of it, and it is most definitely reflecting itself on my panic at the moment. I didn't podcast last week because I had a full-blown meltdown on Thursday. I decided to just take the weekend. Like I was just like bawling my eyes out. I just was so overwhelmed, and I feel like I'm going to talk about it just because I feel like I get messages like, oh, I don't know how you do all of it. And I do feel like most of the time I'm very capable of knowing my own limits. I have crossed my limits and that I've taken on too much right now. And the result of that was me crying my eyes out at 9 PM and going to lie in a dark corner for 10 minutes and then feeling fine. I felt fine afterwards, but I felt a bit delicate for the weekend, so I thought I just don't want a podcast. It's one of those things I can let slip, and I don't want this ever to be something that feels forced. And so I was like, I just wait for a week. It's fine, just wait for a week. I feel way better this week, and it was really nice because I kind of realised that with all the stuff that's going on, I've not really been gymming. I used to go to the gym 3 times a week. That's something that's kind of stopped happening. So last weekend we went for 2 really glorious big walks with the puppy, and we always eat pretty healthy, but you know, we made sure we got loads of veggies in, and I made sure I wasn't drinking too much coffee and getting a couple good night's sleep, and all in all just stopping and like enjoying myself and reflecting on it not being too stressful. But it is just, I feel at the moment like a glass of water, and I'm right at the tip. You know that, like, it's got a name, right? The rim of the glass. And like a good shake and the water will start spilling. Most of the time I'm fine, but last week was a good shake and the water started spilling out my eyes. But this week I am feeling way better, and I think that the franticness and the chaos in my brain is right now coming out of my knitting, which is really strange for me because it's not happened before. But it's quite nice. I'm very aware of where I'm at and I know what's going on, and I know I just need to take care of myself and take care of Sam, and Sam takes care of me, and we both take after the dog, take care of the dog, and we're just enjoying things. And I think we had a bit of a panic, we've got so much to do, but actually it's nice things, and it's so exciting. We're gonna be homeowners, which when I lived in London, I remember thinking there's no way I'm ever gonna own a house in my life, and then moved to a much less expensive city, so that was part of the component, and I'm buying with a partner, so like there are lots of reasons why. But you know, like, it's just us on our own. We've saved this money, we're not getting help from anyone, we're just doing our thing, and we're buying a house, and that's really, really cool. So I'm really excited, I'm really proud of us for that. And I'm slightly dreading packing up my entire house in the next 3 weeks, but we have started. My yarn room is mostly packed, there's a lot of yarn, and we'll get going on the next things for the next few weekends. And that has just been like a thing that's been in my brain recently. I think the house move, like the dog was already a little bit, the thing is the puppy stress is starting to wane a little bit. Like it's not as bad as it was. When he first came home I thought, why have we done this? Everyone gets puppy blues, I think, but it's so much work and you don't expect it. And even if you think you're prepared, you're not prepared for the constant attention that he needs, I think. But the whole this morning I was working and he was just like chilling with me. I live on the sofa and then he'd go on the floor and then he'd go to his bed and then he'd take a little wander and sleep on the floor and find a sunny patch, and like all that's getting so much better. So that stress is easing off a little bit. The house stress is ramping up a little bit, and just gonna take a breath and get through all of it. And then we'll move house, and then we've got like no rush once we're in and we're moved. Like we own the place, so we can do whatever we want and we can decorate at our own pace and we can unpack at our own pace. And in the new house I'm gonna have my own yarn room, and it's not a yarn room, it's an office. I'm actually gonna call it my studio. I work from home, so I have a home office, and right now my partner and I share a room for the office, which works impressively well. And we just come through to the kitchen table if we've got calls, but otherwise it's really nice to work together in there. But in the new place it is a 3-bedroom, so we will have our bedroom and then my partner will have an office and I will have an office, and mine is the bigger one and it's gonna have walls of yarn. So we'll do some content around that when I move, and I'll unpack and show everyone what it's gonna look like. And we're gonna be close to the beach, which I'm also really excited for. And it's all good things, it's just a lot at the moment. Other than that, what else is going on? I have 2 Dutch friends coming to visit today. I studied in the Netherlands. I went full Dutchy for the 3 years I was there, and definitely miss it. And every time I'm there I'm like, oh, I should just move back here, it's so lovely, she says after buying a house in Edinburgh. But I've got 2 Dutch friends, they're coming through some hill walking, and they're going to stay with us for 3 nights, and I'm super excited to see them and to catch up. I'm a bit nervous about my Dutch skills. I know I'll fall back in, like, they speak perfect English, so if we drop back into English they'll be fine. But I would like to be able to spend the weekend talking Dutch. So ja, ik moet oefenen. Ik moet even mijn Nederlands oefenen. Ik wil Nederlands praten en hopelijk komt het wel terug. We'll see if it works. If not, I'm just going to be very exhausted and have a headache at the end of every day. And then next weekend is almost my birthday. So my birthday is the 26th of August and I'll be turning 30, which is a big number to turn. I can't believe I'll not be a 20-something-year-old anymore. It's been a big year though, if I think about it. So I'm excited for my birthday. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm not nervous about like a year older, I'm just nervous about a whole decade, a new number at the start of it. But that is exciting. And the weekend after my birthday, we're doing my family birthday party, which we have done now, it's been the 4th year, which is a murder mystery party, and it is so much fun. We get very into it and I'm looking forward to that one. So loads of really nice stuff, lots of things I'm excited about, lots of good things in my needles, loads of cool knitting, buckets of inspiration, and a little bit of stress on the side of that, but that's okay. I hope you enjoyed this. I have the feeling it was quite a long episode. I feel like I've been talking for ages. I'm surprised the puppy is still sleeping. But I'm going to take advantage of while he is to finish the rest of my sandwich, have a nice big glass of water, do some more swatching? No more swatching. Tidy all of my knitting away again and enjoy the rest of my afternoon. Cara wrap application is down below if you're interested, and don't forget to head over to Casey's recent podcast for a discount code on the order and the Daphne's patterns. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I'm so happy I did this. Last weekend was definitely not the weekend to do it. I was definitely just not in the mindset. But just sitting down and talking, I'm feeling so good. I feel really good for having spent some time talking about this all and my knitting. And I think it's what I needed to get hyped for everyone to come to visit this weekend and spend a weekend with friends. I will be back in 2 weeks' time. And until then, happy knitting. Bye.